This shit more than a game.
Perfect.
Well, we saw last Sunday when the Saints lost to the New England Patriots, and honestly, what we've seen a lot in the Saints' losses this rebuild season is there's a difference between players, playmakers, and difference makers. You can have a team for the players. Every team does, right? We got some players on our team. You can have a team with some playmakers. And I will argue that the Saints actually do have a few playmakers on their team. Rashid, Shaheed, even Alvin Kamara at his age, he's still a playmaker. But the one thing that the Saints are missing right now, and I've kind of alluded to this all season long, is we don't have any difference makers. The New England Patriots, they had a difference maker. His name was Drake May. Okay? There's a difference between having playmakers, players, and difference makers. New Orleans Saints have a lot of good young talent right now that makes me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys, optimistic about the future and makes you feel in a pretty good spot about where we are right now in our rebuild era. But we don't have any difference makers. We need to draft some. It's fun to eat your vegetables and draft foundational players like offensive linemen. It's certainly fun when you can draft a defensive lineman who's a difference maker, but we don't have any of those. What the New Orleans Saints need, what is going to be a key part going forward, if we ever are going to be in contention again, is that we need difference makers. Sometimes a difference maker could be a quarterback. Sometimes it could be a running back. It could be a defensive end. It could be a linebacker, whatnot, whatever. It can be something. It doesn't have to just be the quarterback. Drake May's a cheat code, right? When you got a franchise quarterback, of course he's a difference maker, but it doesn't just have to be a quarterback. This isn't like me trying to say, oh, Spencer Rattler's not a difference maker. No, I'm saying just in total, we do not have any difference maker. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Alvin Kamara, great players for what they still are, even in their twilight, but they are no longer difference makers. Right now, the 2025 New Orleans Saints do not have any difference makers. And the key part of this rebuild going forward is, are we going to draft or even sign some difference makers? Because that's the difference between being in rebuild mode and mediocrityville or being a great team. I hate to say this out loud, but I gotta. I hate to say this out loud, but I absolutely have to. You watched that Atlanta Falcons versus Buffalo Bills game last night. The Atlanta Falcons have a difference maker, and his name is Bijan Robinson. We do not have any difference makers right now. And that is what's going to continue to hold the Saints back if we ever want to get out of this rebuild era. We got to draft some difference makers, New Orleans. It's fun to get the offensive linemen and draft picks and build a great foundation and all that stuff. But eventually, at some point, Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis, you have to draft difference makers. To be honest, Chris Olave should be a difference maker, and yet he's not. So maybe we should trade him, right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jono Bones Show, where this shit more than a game.
From the stands, I'm invested. Every loss served like a lesson, we tested. Front porch talk turn to Sunday confessions. From dome to the block, it's all one connection. From Eric to Drew, Alvin to Cam, talk down on my squad. Boy, I be damned. I rap for the ones that never got fame, still yelling loud. This shit more than a game. Cause y'all know why? This shit more than a game. It ain't no lie. This shit more than a game. You know that's right. This shit more than a game. And y'all know why? This shit more than a game. Now I got Lil Jono sitting on my knee, teaching them young what it mean to believe. This bigger than scores, it's what we became. He gon' know off top, this shit more than a game. Clarissa in the back, giving me all types of stress, but deep down, she know the husband the best. She knows he's crazy, she know he's mean, but she know the kid 100% New Orleans. And y'all know why, this shit more than a game. It ain't no lie, this shit more than a game. You know that's right, this shit more than a game. And y'all know why, this shit more than a game. Yeah. When you see Jono scream, this shit more than a game. And when you see a Falcons fan, just call out for Jonathan. And yeah, this shit more than a game. New Orleans Memphis know this shit more than a game. Louisiana know this shit more than a game. Texas know this shit more than a game. Whole world know this shit more than a game. Y'all know why?
This shit more than a game.
And I'm so happy at you guys. I'm so happy because I don't even have to say it anymore. You guys already know how we got to start off each and every Jono Barnes show. Y'all don't know. Let Sonya tell y'all. Let my lovely lady, the first lady of the This Shit More Than a Game Kingdom, Clarissa, tell y'all. Leave a This Shit More Than a Game in the chat right now to start the Jono Barnes show off right. And wait, I've been noticing something though. A lot of y'all have now been just putting in the TSMTHES, typing out this shit more than the game. Y'all say shit. The Saints in the rebuild era, we rebuilding too. We'll take our time. We ain't gonna put out the whole this shit more than the game. We'll wait till the Saints are contenders again. I ain't mad at it, y'all. I ain't mad at it. You know what? I'm not even mad at the New Orleans Saints loss this past Sunday to the New England Patriots. I mean, we had fun with that New York Giants victory, and I even told y'all last week. I say, hey man, cherish victory Tuesday, but also cherish victory Wednesday, victory Thursday, victory Friday, because we're probably not going to get a lot of victories this season. So I'm not mad, you know, when we go up a bit in weight class to the New England Patriots, which is surprising to say, right? I mean, look, it's the New England Patriots, the greatest franchises of all time. Obviously, in a lot of our young adulthood, they were the team. And then after Brady left, they kind of went back to reality. So it's not surprising that they are kind of into this contention space, but it's like the first year where you're like, whoa, the New England Patriots, they got something building here. Are they even better than the Buffalo Bills? I mean, I'm sure we were all hate watching the Falcons last night and probably thinking, okay, what's going on with the Buffalo Bills? Are they legit or not? I mean, maybe we should have seen that coming when they didn't struggle versus us, but it was a competitive game. And you're like, well, damn, if you're having a competitive game versus the New Orleans Saints, when you're supposed to be the top of the top team, maybe you ain't as good as we gave you credit for. But also beating the New York Giants kind of had more weight to it after last Thursday when the New York Giants defeated the Philadelphia Eagles. So maybe some fans were like, well, shit, maybe the Saints being the New York Giants wasn't just like a easy or a winnable game as much as we thought it was. And maybe the Giants are actually building something and the New Orleans Saints are building something too. I mean, to beat the defending champions on Thursday night was a pretty impressive victory for the New York Giants, which made our victory last Sunday against the New York Giants look even better, right? So maybe some fans had some delusion going into the Patriots game that, hey, maybe the Saints are better than we give them credit for. But they're not, because again, we do not have any difference makers on this team, like some of the teams that we are playing who are ready to contend. So let's recap, y'all, this New Orleans Saints versus New England Patriots game, because it kind of follows the same script that the first few games of the season had. And, you know, from a fan perspective, that's actually probably a good thing. Like when you're in a rebuild, you could be in a rebuild where like your team is horrible, getting their asses kicked constantly. Like the Seattle game could have been the norm for a team like us. Thankfully, it's not. Thankfully, we actually are in competitive games most of the time every Sunday. Now, from a content creator standpoint, it kind of it's a little boring. I'm gonna be honest. And I have a question for you guys. Like, you know, I asked for this. I asked for a rebuild. But I will say from a content creation standpoint, being in mediocrityville, I'm talking from a content creation standpoint, not a fan standpoint. From a content creation standpoint, being in that mediocrityville probably bought more entertaining content because, you know, fans want to tune in to old Jono or any other Saints content creator yelling at the screen like, oh, Derek Carr, blah, 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 you know? And when you have expectations, the emotions go up. When you're in a rebuild era, and I think most of the people in my community have settled in that, okay, we're rebuilding, the emotions aren't as high. Hence why I'm not getting as many voicemails as I used to. Hence why I'm not getting as many views as I used to, because we're in rebuild mode. So from a content creation standpoint, kind of sucks, right? Like, oh man, you know, when we're in rebuild mode, people just, their care efforts and their emotion levels go down. But I'm a fan before anything. I'm a fan before my content creator. So it doesn't bother me because I'm like, look, we had to go to rebuild mode because I would rather one day cheer and do content for a goddamn contender where the numbers and the emotions will really go sky high than continue to be in mediocrityville. I mean, mediocrityville as a content creator, it gets you a bump in views, and you know, people love seeing Jono yell when we lose to the Falcons in embarrassing fashion. But it's not good long term as a fan of a franchise because you either want to be really good or you want to be pretty bad. So you can at least get a high draft pick and have hope that, hey, this next draft pick, this next draft class is going to be the reason why we elevate. So I want to know where you guys stand right now as Saints fans. I remember, if you're true to the Jono Barnes show, when Ziggy used to be on the show, we would do a little segment where we were like, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at as a Saints fan, with 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest? Where are you right now as a Saints fan? I want to say, honestly, I feel like most of the fans are like kind of at a 5. Like, of course, our most emotional week, right, was when we got our asses whooped by Seattle, because we were like, whoa, goddamn, you can't get your ass whooped like that and not have some emotion. But when you're in a rebuild mode and you're playing competitive games, and it's been the same script damn near every loss that we've had, competitive but close but no cigar, right? I feel like the fans are just kind of like, yeah. I think even Bruce Saint did it in a voicemail a few weeks ago. He was like, I mean, it's a rebuild. I can't give you much, Jono, because it's a rebuild. He has no motivation to call in a voicemail and, let his heart out with a song or something, because there's no emotion a lot when it comes to rebuilding. You're in the rebuild and you're like, well, shit, we know we ain't going to the playoffs. So, we'll just settle in on this rebuild roller coaster. That's the gauge I'm getting from Saints fans with the platform. Well, at least on YouTube. On Twitter, that's a whole nother story. I mean, Twitter is a roller coaster in itself. But how do y'all feel with this rebuild so far? Because I feel like emotions are just kind of like layered right now on the Jono Barnes. So y'all very temperate, I guess. Shout out to my girl Angel, who discovered me from my boy Trizzy's show. She says she's at a 5, which I feel like that's what most fans are at. Like we're not too high, but we're not too low. We're like, okay, we know what we are. We're rebuilding. So it's kind of like, yeah. Pro P says Ziggy is still trying to calculate y'all playoff chances. I'm sure a lot of y'all miss Ziggy on the show. I'll probably ask him at some point to come at least do a cameo on the show or whatever. But y'all should if he ever does come back on the show, give him help. Like, hold on, Ziggy, like the year where the Saints only have 1 win in mid-October, your ass is nowhere to be found, huh? So Pro P, I'm actually going to allow that comment. Bruce Saint says, with Kellen Moore, I will give him 3 years before he is on a Dennis Allen train. And I am the same way, Bruce Saint. I said when we hired Kellen Moore, I'm going to give him, this ain't the president, I'm going to give him 3 years, not 4. I'm going to give him 3 years. So this year, I'm a cool customer, which sadly for y'all, especially for Falcons fans, means probably not as many rants, right? Like, I can't see any game that can make me like really have veins popping out my neck unless we lose like in a controversial way to the Falcons, because those, I mean, if it doesn't make the Falcons fans feel good, more power to them. Like, that's probably our Super Bowl games this year. We want to at least get 1 win on the Falcons this year, and we'll be like, all right, it was a successful season. So if we find a way to like embarrassingly lose the Falcons game, maybe you'll get a rant that way. But other than that, I mean, because of how we came into the season, it's just not as much high emotion. And I'm going to give Kellen Moore 3 years. Now, I will say, by year 2, Bruce Saint, like next year, the training wheels are off. The diapers are off. Like, okay, this is year 2. I'm not saying by next year, oh, playoffs are bust. Not at all. I think by year 3, at that point, you should be like, and I don't want to, be like every fan and go with the Detroit Lions, because they're probably the most recent example of a team that built it all the way down to the studs and to a contender in 3 years. But that's kind of life in the NFL. Like, okay, you got 3 years to build something. Now, in 2027, if we're still losing games like this, and we still don't have any difference makers, that's a problem. That's when Jono Barnes is going to come on. Hopefully, I'm still doing content by 2027. It's Lil Jono's decision. And say, hold the hell on, Saints. But in 2025, it's kind of technically a honeymoon period where we're like, we knew what we were getting into. So we'll let Kellen Moore and these young players develop a little bit. But next year is kind of like that midway point of building a contender where you're like, okay, like Spencer Rattler is still playing this way. Next year, if he's still our starting quarterback, I'll probably be a lot harsher on him. I mean, if you ask Twitter, I'm probably the harshest I'm the harshest critic on Spencer Rattler, apparently, which I'm not, but whatever. If they want to see how harsh I could be, if Rattler's our starter next year and he's still playing these type of games where he's not elevating us, I'm going to be like, now we got a problem. Like, this is year 2. Year 3 for Rattler, but year 2 of the rebuild. We can't be just kind of being stagnant. Like, you got to take considerable leaps. You ain't got to go from A to Z like that, but you got to at least get by 2026. You got to be at the J. Okay, you got to be at the midway point of a rebuild. But right now, we're still at A. We might finish the season at B or C, and I'll be happy. But I'm going to be graceful. Drew also said the content was popular back then because of the year. Yeah, like, so it's again, from a fan standpoint, I love the rebuild. I asked for a rebuild. I want what's best for the team. From a content standpoint, I'm like, I do my reaction videos every Sunday, and I'm like, I can't really give them much because I'm not going to fake it. One thing about me is I'm never going to fake it. I'm never going to lie to try to protect feelings and be like, well, I really feel this way about the Saints, but because I have a strong Saints fandom, I'm not going to say that I think they're going to be bad because I don't want to lose any fans or be accused of being a fake fan. Hell with that. I'm going to say how I feel about the team. And I say that all offseason. And I say, y'all, it's probably going to be a 4 or 5 win season. Some fans push back at me saying, how could you? You're not a real Saints fan. Well, I'm guessing they're learning in real time, right? Long way to go, but I guess they're learning in real time. But I don't hold back. I say how I feel. But I'm not going to also fake being mad and be like, I can't believe we lost to the goddamn Patriots. And God damn it, we should have, no, you could be mad at still like things like Juwan Johnson, who should be playing much better than what he is given his contract and fumbling the ball like that. You could be mad at things like that, but I'm not going to act like, I'm enraged when we lose to the New England Patriots. I'm not going to act like I'm going to be enraged if we lose to the Chicago Bears this Sunday. I know what I asked for. I know what I came into the season expecting. And the Saints are giving me exactly that. My lovely wife, Clarissa. So this is a good thing that Clarissa is commenting, y'all. If Clarissa is commenting, that means that Lil Jono is giving her a pretty chill night. So I'm glad that she's commenting. That means my son probably isn't in the other room throwing up a goddamn storm. So I'm glad to see her comment because that means that hopefully he's giving her somewhat of an easy night. She says, the front office needs to have some changes if we're being realistic. Coaching is one thing, but the front office needs some refreshing to be successful. I actually agree with that. The Saints, I still believe, kind of run like a mom and pop shop where there seems to be no, pressure on Mickey Loomis. We could be still rebuilding in 2028. And if Mickey Loomis wants that job, he's going to have it because Gail Benson doesn't put much pressure on him. So I agree with my lovely wife that I do hope that there is some pressure at least mounting in that building. And I would think that there actually is some pressure because at the end of the day, the Saints are trying to sell tickets, trying to fill that Superdome, trying to keep fans interested, right? They're catering a lot to the casual fan. They know the diehards like me and all of you guys are going to tune in no matter what. They know they're going to get our money no matter what. But when you only got one win in the middle of October, they know that, oh, shit, we're going to probably lose a lot of our casual base because all they see is, God damn, the Saints suck. And so they're probably saying we got to do something. Now, I hope it doesn't make them go, but we got to, try to expedite this rebuild and, get us back to mediocrityville with Derek Carr. I know. I will hope that they can see the forest from the trees. But I do think that there should be some pressure in the front office to say, hey, yes, we know this is a rebuild year, but this is not the standard. Like when we get back to hopefully contending, we need to make sure that we stay long-term contenders. And we're not just going to, kick our feet up this season because we knew we were going to be bad. No, they got to be in that building saying, okay, what the hell can we do to improve this team for 2026 and beyond? Which, good job, babe. It actually brings me to the main point of today. We are going to talk about with the Saints only having one win, and I'll be damned if anybody on Airline Drive actually thinks the playoffs are still a possibility. Should the Saints become a seller and start trading some of these players? I'm going to give you guys a list of players, and we're not going to play yes or no tonight. We're going to play should the Saints trade. We're going to start off with the person who I named this show after because he's obviously probably the most polarizing prospect to trade, which is Chris Olave. We're not going to get to that yet, but there are some players that we're going to name today. And I want to hear your thoughts on if the Saints should trade these certain players. And I'm not just going to say Chris Olave. There's going to be some other players that you might be like, hell no, we shouldn't trade him. Or hell yeah, we should trade him. We should trade everybody, Johnny. We only got one win. I want to know y'all thoughts. So that's the game we're going to play in about 5 minutes. So what we're going to talk about today, I'm a little surprised I only see a few because Lord knows I had like 5+ Falcons fans hit me up last night and I was expecting it. They had a big win against the Buffalo Bills. And so I knew what was coming, right? Because we all thought the Falcons were going to lose to the Buffalo Bills and they did not. Try as they might. They tried to Falcon. They tried their hardest to Falcon. The Bills just didn't want to take it, which makes me really lower my expectations on the Bills' Super Bowl chances this year because the Falcons tried. If you watched that game last night, the Falcons tried to Falcon. Drake London didn't go out of bounds and he went out of bounds instead of going down, cost them at least a guaranteed 3 points before the half. They got a field goal kick block. A great team would have taken advantage of that and the Falcons would have had that dick look on their face today like they always usually have. They tried to Falcon. At the end of the day, though, they got to win. And so Falcons fans, yes, we will talk about y'all big win, and we will talk about the state of the NFC South because as much as the Falcons fans are celebrating, there's a team in North Carolina that's actually doing just as good as you guys. If you go by the win-loss record, they're doing just as good as you guys in North Carolina. We're going to talk about what's going on in NFC South. And hell, if we're being real, y'all, there's an argument that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in the NFC right now. Some are even saying, including our Hall of Fame quarterback, Drew, he went on ESPN today and say, right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL. Not NFC. Drew Brees say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL. Now, it's only week 6. Long way to go. Long way to go. Last year, the Falcons beat the Eagles on Monday Night Football. We also saw how that worked out for Philadelphia. We saw how that worked out for the Atlanta Falcons. Long way to go. But right now, truthfully, the NFC South is doing the damn thing. Everybody except the New Orleans Saints. But it is time, you guys. We are going to play a very, very important game, and I definitely want you guys to heavy lift the show tonight. I want to hear from you guys about should the Saints be in a seller's market and trade some of these players now to continue to build on the future? Should we trade a Chris Olave? Should we trade a Pete Werner? Should we trade a fan favorite veteran like a Demario Davis? I'm going to ask you guys that question. But before I do, here's how I reacted when we did lose that game to the New England Patriots.
Jono, who are you talking to? Oh my God. Jono.
Mary, look, I know that there's a lot of things you said you had to promise about fixing New Orleans, okay? But the policy, wait, you need to fix the New Orleans.
Jono, give me the phone.
Mary, give me
the phone.
What, man?
What is wrong with you?
What you mean what's wrong with me, man? It was an important conversation.
The mayor? The new mayor?
Yes, what's wrong, man?
What?
Elena Moreno, she won a mayor. I'm trying to tell her to fix the New Orleans Saints. Don't worry about those damn potholes or anything like that, man. The New Orleans Saints is the main priority to fix for the New Orleans.
Are you listening to yourself?
What you mean I listen to myself? Yeah,
you need therapy.
I'm tired of losing, man.
Who
I'm tired of
cares?
losing.
You knew what the season was going to
I'm
be.
tired of losing, man. I'm tired of losing.
The tears?
I'm not crying, man.
You want a
Just
tissue?
crying. I got in my eye. Kind of got my... Oh, no, I'm good.
Stop making excuses.
I'm good, man. Dang.
I can't believe you'd call the mayor. That has to be a criminal offense of some sort. They're going to come to our house later.
You know this shit more than the game, though. You know this shit more than the game.
I'm tired. I'm so damn tired of you.
All right, look, man. I'm sorry. That was a little overzealous. I'm sorry, okay? Can I please have the phone back? Hold on.
Are you going to call?
Yes, no, I'm going to... No, I'm done.
Yes,
I'm done.
you are. No, you're not.
I'm done. Can you please... I'm sorry. Madam, I'm so sorry. Congratulations on the winning the mayor's race. Looking forward to what you do for the city of New Orleans, okay? Damn, you see? You be overreacting sometimes. What's your problem?
Me? Overreacting.
Man, you don't look for like a walk or something? I gotta clear my head out.
Leave the phone.
Losing, man.
Leave the phone.
I'm tired of losing. Hold on, I got me one phone call.
To who? Down to who?
Hello? President Trump?
No!
You talking about make America great again. You make the New Orleans Saints great again. Come on, now.
What the fuck is wrong?
Congratulations to Madam Mayor Helena Moreno on her victory this past Saturday. I just hope that she has our priorities in order and we fix the goddamn New Orleans Saints. If y'all thought I was wilding out after that New England Patriots game, let me tell you, there was a Saints fan that wilded out after that game Sunday. And I will show y'all that footage, but there's a catch. There's a catch. And this is not a skit. This is like an actual real life Saints fan that was posted on the internet. Don't know if you guys saw yet. Hopefully you didn't. Because if you want to see it, I will post it. But all I ask for is one super chat tonight. Look, I know we're in a rebuild year, right? Like last year, I would say, look, man, if y'all give me 5 super chats, if y'all give me to 70 likes before the show is over, y'all get this. I know we're in a rebuild year. I know the numbers are going down a little bit. Let's just get one. And it could be $2.83. I will show you guys some hilarious footage that I guarantee you one thing. I mean, I know Saints fans, we can laugh at ourselves, but the Falcons fans are probably going to use it as, oh, shit, it's that down bad in New Orleans right now. If y'all want to see that footage, if y'all want to see like a true crash out, if I get one super chat, I will show you guys just how wild the city of New Orleans is. And then y'all will be like, you know what? He did need to call the mayor and say how to fix the Saints because, goddamn, the city of New Orleans wilds out when our Saints lose. So if y'all want to see that footage, if I get one super chat, it doesn't have to be a big super chat. It could be $2.83. I will show y'all the footage of Saints fans wilding out. Now, while y'all ponder that, let's ponder this. Who should the New Orleans Saints, if anybody, trade as the trade deadline approaches and the New Orleans Saints are nowhere close to being contenders this year? We're going to start off with the most polarizing one, the one that it was definitely probably going to spark the biggest debate. Bruce Saint, I see you. I got you in a little bit. Chris Olave. who somehow had his best game this past Sunday, yet also had his most frustrating game. Because where Chris Olave used to make like these huge catches that you were like, that guy's the number one wide receiver. He's not making those huge catches anymore. And you got to ask yourself, okay, this man is a free agent. This man is going to try and get at least $90 million. That's how much Garrett Wilson is getting guaranteed. So I'm sure that's where his agent is at least going to ask for. Now, will his market be in the $90 million range? That remains to be seen. Because my thought process is, well, I don't think the Saints are going to pay Chris Olave $90 million. So I certainly don't think any of the other 31 teams are going to pay Chris Olave that much money. But it only takes one team to have belief in you to do it. So it's, you ask yourself, okay, well, who are the Saints going to be competing with if they do want to re-sign Chris Olave? Hell, do y'all even want to sign Chris Olave, re-sign him again? Which then asks you, if you don't want to re-sign him, should the Saints just trade him now? Should the Saints trade Chris Olave now and get a return on him instead of just letting him walk in free agency next year? Or even worse, if you, depends on what side you are, actually pay him a big contract. Because if you ask me, no, he's not worth a big contract. For a rebuilding team, I do not want to spend a lot of our salary cap on Chris Olave when he has shown that he is not a number one wide receiver. He's shown flashes, and I still think there's something in him that can be unleashed. I just don't know if it's going to be with the New Orleans Saints. So I ask you guys, do you want to trade Chris Olave? Yes or no? And it was not the typical yes or no segment, so elaborate. Should the New Orleans Saints trade Chris Olave, and why do you think the New Orleans Saints should trade? Good Lord, the super chats are coming in like crazy. And why do you think the New Orleans Saints should trade Chris Olave, or why do you not think the New Orleans Saints shouldn't trade Chris Olave? Like Sonia says, no, she does not want to trade Chris Olave. So Sonia, I ask you, why do you not want to trade Chris Olave? I'll tell you why I would trade Chris Olave with a preface in that it would have to be obviously a return that makes sense, right? Like, I'm not trading Chris Olave for a 6th-round draft pick. For all that, I don't mind losing him in free agency, and we get a compensation 3rd-round pick the next year, right? Like, if we are going to trade Chris Olave, it better be for a 3rd-round pick or more. So think about that when I ask about trading these players, right? Like, I'm not saying, oh, you know, trade Chris Olave for a po' boy sandwich at Tavern Parkway. No, I'm saying, like, if you get a pretty good return back, would you trade him? I would, because I just don't think that where the Saints are as a franchise right now and where Chris Olave is at the trajectory of his career, we can explain, or we can justify paying a wide receiver like him $70, $80, $90 million when he obviously has never even made the Pro Bowl. Right now, if Olave comes pretty cheap, and I say cheap as in like, oh, you know, we actually were able to sign him for $40 million because his market was not strong because he's having a pretty poor year. Then you got my attention. Then I'm like, okay, I can entertain keeping him for $40 million. But obviously his agent isn't going to come to the table this offseason and say $40 million is what we're going to start with. No, they're going to try to get as much juice out the apple that they can. So they're going to say $90 million, $100 million. And then it's all on the Saints and the other 31 teams to say, this is your market or this is not your market. I imagine that he's probably there's going to be some team that believes in his potential and gives him $70 million is his floor, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I think his floor is going to be a $70 million contract. That's fine. I'm always about players getting their money. That doesn't mean it has to be with my team, though. So no, I would not pay Olave that much this year, which means I would trade him. Like, if the Buffalo Bills come calling and saying our defense is trash, our best chance at keeping the Super Bowl window up is giving Josh Allen as many weapons as possible so we can just outscore teams by, you know, if we can score 40 points per game and we think that Josh Allen can unleash Chris Olave, then yes, I'm trading him to a team like that. If a team comes calling like that, saying we'll give you a 3rd-round pick, hell, if they give us a 2nd-round pick, I doubt any team is going to call for with a 1st-round pick offer. Yes, I would trade Chris Olave. What about you guys? Let's get to the comments, starting with the king of the super chats, Brute Saint, who says Olave should be traded because while he isn't playing good enough, he's still in his prime and could be a valuable wide receiver too on another team. Honestly, Bruce saying, like, if he goes to Buffalo, he's the number 1 wide receiver right now. Like, there's still some teams where Chris Olave could be a number 1 wide receiver. And if you pair him with an elite quarterback, you never know. Sonia says he has too much potential. Sonia, I'm going to go with the Zion rebuttal. Like, after year 4, like, you kind of are what you are. Like, you either got it or you don't. We knew right away. Alvin Kamara, he's got it. Michael Thomas, he's got it. You know, at a certain point, especially after year 3, I'm like, you either got it or you don't. You're either a superstar or you're not. I'm not saying that he can't, because I agree with you. He does still have like those flashes where you're like, okay, with the right system, the right quarterback, he could be something. But I don't think that's going to happen in New Orleans. Jay Saunders says a change of scenery will be good for the young boy. Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael days messed up his trajectory, unfortunately. I'm just playing devil's advocate, Jay Saunders. He also had Clint Kubiak, and we see what Clint Kubiak is doing in Seattle right now, right? Like Seattle has a top 5 offense. Seattle has a top 5 offense. So it wasn't just him with Carmichael. Like he had Clint Kubiak too, and he didn't have an elite season under Kubiak the way Jackson Smith-Jigba is having an elite season under Clint Kubiak, which goes to my point. You either got it or you don't. You either a star or you're not. Circumstances be damned. Jackson Smith-Jigba is putting up elite numbers with Geno Smith and now Sam Darnold. You either got it or you don't. Linda says Olave should retire too. He is too smart and weak for the NFL. I hope he stays safe at home. I'm not going to use the word weak because I think that him getting back from these concussions shows that he's a strong ass dude, and I would never question his toughness. I do think that the concussions he's had gives me pause, and I do hope that ultimately long term we never have to worry about his CTE and stuff like that, because he's taking some brutal hits throughout his career, which could be affecting the way he's playing right now. And I do hope ultimately, no matter what, that he does have a great, successful, and healthy life after football. Slim South says, knowing Mickey, he would get fleeced as usual. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate. Technically, if you want to argue, we won that Commanders trade for Marshawn Lattimore, right? We didn't get fleeced on the Marshawn Lattimore trade. And that kind of shows you like, hey, when you actually are a franchise, stop treating the franchise like a family business and treating it as a business. You know, we gave Marshawn Lattimore away 1 year too early instead of 1 year too late, right? Now, where Lattimore is definitely not a top 10, 15, maybe even arguably a top 20 cornerback anymore. You know, so do you take the assets now, or do you just ride out, you know, these players saying, but they still got potential? You might have to learn from the Lattimore trade that, hey, sometimes you got to let go when the time is right, even if it doesn't feel right. My guy, the Know the Chop podcast. Again, make sure y'all always go and show him love on his great Saints channel. He says the red zone offense is a major issue. Kellen Moore got to get creative and more aggressive because field goals is not going to cut it. I agree with that. That doesn't answer the question, but I agree with that. Speaking of Lattimore, Bruce Saint says, I do not want another Lattimore case where we wait until he's a scrub. But the thing is, Bruce Saint, again, even if we did wait till Lattimore was a scrub, we still got a good investment on it, right? So technically somebody say, well, Olave's a scrub right now. Well, let's try to get an investment on it while we can. My guy Anthony says, send Olave on his way if you can get a return, because he hasn't done enough to justify paying him $90 to $100 million. I agree. The child says, forget Olave. Let's trade Mickey Loomis for a hot sausage pull boy, a bag of Zap chips, a 12-pack of the Big Pies, and a 1 liter. Oh, I love me a good pineapple Big Shot. I think pineapple is my second favorite flavor behind cream soda. You got me hungry. Know the Chop. Come on now. Let's New Orleans food mentions. Name Atlanta food. They got trash food in Atlanta. Angel says we need a receiver like Jeremiah Smith. Kind of goes back to my main opening rant, Angel. We need to draft some difference makers. I hope next year in the draft we draft some difference makers. I love the offensive line pick when it works out, like Fuaga and Banks seem to be working out right now. But God damn it, give me a exciting player, man. Give me a Bijan Robinson, right? Someone that we like, oh, this is the reason why we can win the game, because you just never know when Bijan Robinson is going to break out an 80-yard touchdown. I think Jeremiah Smith could be that if he is available for us and we decide to go that route. Shout out to Vince Sanity for watching on Twitter. I really, really, really appreciate when people watch on Twitter, because right now the numbers say we got over 330 people watching across all platforms, including 295 on Twitter. And I always say, okay, 290 people really watching on Twitter, or is it just like they scroll down their timeline, my show pops up, they count that as a view? So I appreciate when I get comments from Twitter, because I'm like, well, somebody's actually watching on Twitter. So shout out to you, Vince Sanity. And you say, I don't think you should trade Chris Olave. But you say move him to the number 2 spot and then draft a number 1 wide receiver. That is fine if we can get him for number 2 wide receiver money, because Chris Olave and his agent is not going to go to this offseason saying, I'm a number 2. They're going to say, pay us number 1 wide receiver money, which we should then say no and say, go test the market. And it only takes one team to say, actually, we do think you're a number 1 wide receiver, Chris, so we're going to pay you number 1 wide receiver money. But if other 31 teams say, nah, Chris, we agree, you're not a number 1 wide receiver, then hopefully maybe he can come back and say, okay, my market isn't as strong as I thought. Then I am interested in that conversation of, okay, let's keep Olave for $30-40 million, maybe even a 1-year contract where he said, okay, sign me to a 1-year prove-it contract. I'm not opposed to that. We got Archangel back in the chat. What a surprise, y'all, those Falcons fans. What I always say, they like mice. When the cheese is out, they come out. And you see Archangel at all this season. They beat the Buffalo Bills, and here they come. Here they come. I actually have never had wings in Atlanta, Archangel. And I've been to Atlanta 2 times in my lifetime, and I never had the wings yet. So maybe next time I go, which will be one day, because that's just elite content that we cannot pass up on. I will try those very hyped up wings that Atlanta residents talk about. So that's Chris Olave. So it seems like, it's a mixed bag, which continues to be from my Twitter conversations as well. People like either still really believe in Chris Olave or they don't. Next up, we have, and I see all the super chats, y'all. We're going to get to them. And because of that, I'm going to show y'all a real, like a legitimate Saints fan crash out. Pete Werner. Now, if y'all watched the game Sunday, y'all might have seen something pretty interesting. Kellen Moore started to put in packages for Danny Stutzman and Isaiah Starbird. That was interesting, right? That was like, we're taking out Pete Werner, who's completely healthy, and putting in some plays for Danny Stutzman and Isaiah Starbird, which means it seems like they're trying to kind of slowly put Danny Stutzman, the cracker with the juice, and Isaiah Starbird in these positions to play more Saints football, the same way we kind of slowly took Isaac Yiadom out, which is great. Thanking Saints. Thank y'all for actually doing that, and playing Quincy Riley. So that makes me go, okay, Pete Werner has got to be a trade candidate, right? Like, there's going to be no reason to, keep Pete Werner if they're trying to make Danny Stutzman or Isaiah Starbird the next linebacker. So how do y'all feel? Should the Saints trade Pete Werner? Yes or no? Bruce Saints says, simply put, yes. Slim South says, Werner, hell yeah, 316. We need to trade him. And AP says, the ironic thing was we didn't bench Werner, but like we took Werner out while he was having his best game. And AP, I'm gonna be honest with you, if that was his best game, I damn sure didn't notice it, which kind of shows you how Werner's been. Not a bad play, but certainly not a play that you're like, yo, we got a dog with this one, right? Like, again, for me, when you a star, you pop out. Like Demario Davis, when he came, we were like, yo, Demario, this guy is a star. Like, you see it. You see it. I haven't seen that with a Chris Olave. Damn sure I haven't seen it with a Cesar Ruiz. You want to talk basketball? I still haven't seen it consistently with a Zion Williamson. Like, you either got it or you don't. So if that was Pete Werner's best game, AP, I damn sure didn't notice. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying, like, he doesn't pop out. If that was his best game, I certainly didn't notice. Angel says, absolutely, we should trade Pete Werner. Sonia says she has to say, yes, we should trade Pete Werner. All right, so this is all that seems like decisive. Everybody's saying, yes, trade Pete Werner. The talented Mr. Ripley says, trade Pete Werner to us. He will go right in with Caden Ellis. And you also didn't mention that we gave y'all David Onyemata as well. Now this is a good point because Pro P says Pete Werner, Caden Ellis, and Zach Bond. And, I'm already mentally preparing myself that if we do trade Pete Werner, like, does he go and have that Zach Bond type year where you're like, well, hold on, why the hell is he doing this in New Orleans? Like, Zach Bond was a goddamn defensive player of the year candidate last year and show any type of that type of play in New Orleans. And then you wonder, okay, was it Saints? Was it DA? Was it? So Saints luck, Pro P. I would not be shocked if we did trade Pete Werner and then he suddenly looks like Ray Lewis at his next stop. Anthony says, yes, trade Pete. And AP says, I would trade anybody that isn't a cultural leader for the right price, but I'm not giving any of them away. And I can appreciate that. Like I say, AP, I'm not saying, okay, trade Pete Werner for a 6th-round pick, right? Like, we got to get something back in return. We're not just trading players for the sake of trading them. But if there is like an actual good investment, return of investment back, absolutely, I'm going to trade Pete Werner, especially because it seems like the team is ready to usher in Danny Stutzman or Isaiah Starbird as the next linebacker taking his spot. Okay, this doesn't answer the question, but I'm still highlight it. Linda says this, because I appreciate having female listeners, by the way. So shout out to you, Linda. You are this shit more than game certified. This improves that Derek Carr. Ooh, y'all, this is a polarizing take. Did not deserve the hate from Saints fans. Almost sounds like Ziggy, huh? One good quarterback cannot lift 52 terrible players. Rattler, Carr, Winston, Dalton, Breeze cannot win with this team. I'll push back on Drew Brees. Drew Brees can win with me at wide receiver. The other quarterbacks, I'll give you that. Drew Brees can win with me at wide receiver. Drew Brees was taking some shitty ass teams and giving them 7 wins. Okay, Drew Brees is a god amongst men. So you go on Twitter, you think that Spencer Rattler was Drew Brees, right? But Drew Brees was the legit god amongst men. So he could win with this team, I think. Maybe not 9-10 games, but he could probably win 7 or 8 games with this team. It's Drew freaking Brees. But interesting point. You think that the fans were too tough on Carr. How do y'all feel about Linda's comment? Do y'all feel after watching 6 games of Spencer Rattler that we were too hard on Derek Carr? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate this because the Pelicans are playing right now, and Jose Alvarado and Amin Thompson just had a scuffle in the game. I love that because Jose Alvarado is a dish shit more than a game certified player. So I love to see some fight from the Pelicans. I'm looking forward to the Pelicans season starting in a few more days. Absolutely. Bruce Saint says, actually, Linda's take is fine. And talented Mr. Ripley, it's not a Spencer Riley conversation. Talented Mr. Ripley, he says, Spencer ain't that. Yeah, I actually agree. I don't go on Twitter because apparently there's a contingent of Spencer Rattler stands on Twitter who think that I'm a Spencer Rattler hater, which is crazy. But I actually do think Spencer Rattler hasn't been that bad. I even say on Twitter today, I say right now, keywords being right now. I didn't say his future is automatic, is going to be concrete, but I say right now, Spencer Rattler's tier, if you want to call it that, it's the Teddy Bridgewater tier, where you put Teddy Bridgewater on a great team like the 2019 New Orleans Saints, he can steer the ship and get you wins. But if you put Teddy Bridgewater on the Carolina Panthers, like the Panthers wind up signing him, a team low on talent, Teddy Bridgewater is not going to elevate that talent to wins, which is why he only had 1 year in Carolina. That's what Spencer Rattler is right now. That's a compliment to Spencer Rattler. To be 12 games in your career, and I'm saying that you're on that Teddy Bridgewater tier where you can't elevate a team, but you damn sure can take. Like you put Spencer Rattler with Sean Payton in Denver, I still think that they have those same amount of wins because Spencer Rattler's not going to lose you a game. If you got a great system around him, he can keep that ship afloat. He ain't Drew Brees. He ain't going to take someone like Austin Carr and make them much better than they are supposed to be. But if you give him a solid cast around him, he can absolutely just steer the ship and do what he has to do to make sure that y'all don't lose a game. Now, apparently on Twitter, that was a World War III for me saying that. Like, oh, how dare you say he's on Teddy Bridgewater's tier? And I'm like, y'all realize that's a compliment, right? Like, even if Spencer Rattler's long-term comparison is Teddy Bridgewater, even if his career ceiling is Teddy Bridgewater, that's not a bad thing. Spencer Rattler fans, man, some of them are freaking weird. I think I'm done just talking about him on Twitter, to be honest, because you can't have a conversation about Rattler on social media where, unless I say he's a god amongst men, like Drew Brees is actually a god amongst men. If I don't say Spencer Rattler, you're a god amongst men. Boy, his fans come at you like, more about Twitter later. Next up, we have, where the hell are the pictures at? Oh, all right. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm blind as hell. This one is interesting. Rashid Shaheed, because I personally think Rashid Shaheed is a great weapon. And I think he is somebody worth investing in so that when we do become contenders, knock on wood, he is somebody that whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Rattler, whether it's Chuck, whoever the hell the quarterback of the future is, has that weapon like Shaheed. Now, he is 28 years old, I believe. So you got to wonder, like, okay, does his age trajectory go on par with the Saints rebuilding? Because by the time we are contenders, is he still going to be that same, super fast weapon in his 30s? But I'm willing to take that chance and invest in him. So I would not trade Rashid Shaheed. I'm not saying he's the number one wide receiver. I think he's a good weapon. I think he's a good Devery Henderson and Robert Meacham type role, right? Right. He's not a number one. The number one was Marcus Colston, but boy, having someone like Meacham and Devery Henderson on your team, boy, that helped the offense tremendously. So I would keep Shaheed. Unfortunately, I think that Shaheed is going to get a big, big contract from some team this offseason because some team like, I don't know, maybe the Ravens or something saying, Shaheed is the key factor for us, to really get Lamar Jackson that Super Bowl ring. Even the Bills, maybe they say, we ain't going to trade for Olave or anything like that. We're going to wait till the offseason and give Shaheed a big contract. So you're taking that risk because you're like, okay, what's going to be his market this offseason? Because he is also a free agent. But I'm willing to take that risk because I like Shaheed a lot and I would keep him and I would not trade him unless we get a high, like it's a team that's going to have a high 3rd round pick higher, a 2nd round pick. Like if a team is desperate and say, we really want Shaheed, give us a sec, we'll get you that. But I would not trade Rashid Shaheed because I really like him. I think he could be a good weapon for us. What do you guys think? AP says Shaheed and Olave have the same agent, just something that may play into a role when the contract. That's very interesting when 2 players of the same position have the same agent. That is very, very interesting. Willie says, what's up, Willie? Says, keep Rashid, trade Olave. Olave still got PTSD from them concussions. The man is playing scared. Slim South says, no, we do not trade Shaheed. Let me see if I missed any comments. All right, 1961. I'm seeing some new names in the chat today. I appreciate y'all. If y'all new to the channel, please, please, please do me a favor, and it will actually make the Falcons fans sad.
Hey fans, hit the subscribe button in 3 seconds to make this Falcons fan sad. 3, 2, 1.
1961 says Shaheed is going to be even more effective when we get that wide receiver one and he can play the slot. He's just a good weapon to me. 1961, like he's somebody I'm like, okay, he could be a building block player for the team. Dante Fight says, as a Falcon fan, y'all should keep him. Now, I don't know if you're saying that at the troll, saying, yeah, pay a lot of money to a secondary wide receiver. Or if he's being a legitimate analyst and saying, yo, Shaheed is a good player. But Falcons fan says we should trade Rashid Shaheed. Next up, we have Carl Granderson, who is probably our best defensive lineman. But if a team says, man, we need to get over the hump in January, we feel like Carl Granderson can help us and get some pressure and sacks on these quarterbacks, and we can win a playoff game or two. Do you answer the call if you're Mickey Loomis and trade Carl Granderson while he appears to be entering or at his prime right now? Would you trade Carl Granderson? I would. And he's actually on a pretty good contract right now. He's probably going to be due for another contract, if not this offseason, next offseason. But because we have him on a pretty good contract, unless we got a deal that is like too good to pass up, I would not trade him. Now, a desperate team comes and says, we will give you a second-round pick for Carl Granderson. Yes. But I think my floor for Carl Granderson, just because of his age and how affordable his contract is right now, I would keep him. And I would keep him and say, the only way you would get my attention is if you offer me a second round. How do you guys feel? Should the Saints trade Carl Granderson? Woody Cameron says, no, absolutely not. Keep Carl Granderson. Brute Saint says, I'm down to trade Granderson only if we draft an edge rusher in the next draft, assuming we have a top 5 pick. The crazy thing, Bruce, saying is right now we only have 1 win, and I believe we are picking 5 if the season ended today. Long way to go. But I was like, that blew my mind. I'm like, God damn, we got 1 win, and we're picking 5. Like that's a Saints luck, right? Any other year, you only got 1 win in the middle of October. The worst you are picking is top 2. We are picking 5 right now. I said the Saints cannot catch a goddamn break. The Baltimore Ravens have a higher draft pick right now than us. The Baltimore Ravens. I get it. The Ravens are probably absolutely going to have a better record than this when all is said and done. It is wild that in October 14th, literally the mid-season of October, we have 1 win, and yet we are picking 5. Not 1, not 2, not even 3 and 4. We're picking 5. That's crazy. I really hope that if we continue to keep losing these games, we at least get a top 3 pick when all is said and done. You can't make this up. Like my old co-host says, you cannot make this up. Get back to some of these comments. Jay Saunders says Granderson should be top 3 sack leaders if it weren't for that BS roughing the passer call. I agree. A midseason trade for him does not make sense. Keep him. Interesting. I'm not mad at that. What up, Chad? Chad usually watches on Twitter. He's on YouTube tonight. I appreciate that, Chad. He says, I'm good setting anyone, honestly, to build for the coming years. Yes and no, Chad. Like, I don't want to, again, just trade players because we're in the rebuild. Like, there are some players that you want to, like, continue to have long-term so that, you know, you just kind of have those culture leaders, as somebody else said in the comments, like when the team is good, right? Yeah, you don't want to just have fresh faces for the sake of having fresh faces. So I do think there's got to be like some players that were like, we're going to keep him because when we do turn this thing around, you know, we want to have those veterans in our locker room to be spearheading us being contenders. D the Guerrillionaire, that's definitely the first time he's ever commented on the show. So shout out to you, D the Guerrillionaire. He says, trade Olave. He is 1 concussion away from retiring and not worth the money. Make sure I don't see any. All right. My girl Sandra, she says, heck no. Granderson is the future. And Vinny says, give me a 2nd and a 4th for him or I hang up. AP also says, if a team gives a 2nd rounder plus more, I will do it. But anything less, no. And the Know the Chop podcast says Granderson is staying home. So we shall see. We still got people coming into the chat talking about Olave, because again, he's the most polarizing one, right? And Reese's Pieces. I'm seeing a lot of new names in the chat. Again, I really hope y'all subscribe to this channel. I promise y'all. And a lot of the people in the chat, like Slim South and Sandra and Sonia, Brute, hell, even Archangel, and these Falcons fans can attest to, ain't no community that did this shit more than the game community. Reese's Pieces says, I think Chris Olave is a fantastic wide receiver. I think it sucks because he keeps making mistakes in the most crucial moments. But for the most part, he is able to come down with the ball. Just fine, Reese's Pieces. But if you are a number one wide receiver who's going to ask for 70, 80, 90 million dollars, you have to make the catches in the most crucial moments. But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Now, Reese's, you say you're keeping him for the season. That's fine, but you risk losing him for nothing, letting him walk away from nothing because the Baltimore Ravens say we're going to give you $80 million. So that's the risk you take if you're the New Orleans Saints. If you say we're going to keep Olave, because if you keep Olave, you damn sure better have a plan to say we want to re-sign him. And I hope it ain't saying we want to re-sign him for 60, 70, $80 million, because he damn sure hasn't been worth that so far in his career. All right, next up. I'm loving, by the way, I am loving the engagement tonight, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to get to like some real controversial names, because, you know, we all know down here in New Orleans, this shit more than a game. I don't just say that to sell t-shirts. This shit is more than a game down in New Orleans. See, in Atlanta, it ain't more than a game. So they don't care when you give away popular players who are like family. But New Orleans, man, if you are, you know, true to New Orleans and you're a great player, man, you set in New Orleans for life. Look at Thomas Morstead, set in New Orleans for life. He's played on like 6 different teams, including the goddamn Falcons, since we sillily released him. But he's always welcomed and loved in New Orleans. Same as these next few players, like Demario Davis, y'all. Let's say a team calls and say, man, we really could use Demario Davis to try to win a championship. Let's say the Kansas City Chiefs say, man, Demario can actually really make sure that we are back in the Super Bowl for a 4th year. Would y'all trade fan favorite, New Orleans Saints legend, Demario Davis, if the Chiefs called and say, we'll give you guys a 3rd round pick for Demario Davis? See, now it's getting interesting, right? One thing for Olave, Granderson, players who never really had that peak that someone like a Demario or some of the names I'm about to say had. But if someone calls and say, Demario Davis, we want him, we'll give y'all a 3rd round pick, would y'all trade him? And remind you, I just mentioned, I don't like when the Saints treat the franchise like a mom and pop family run organization. This is a business. So put on your GM hat. The GM calls and says, we want Demario Davis. Are you going to treat him like, man, but that's Demario freaking Davis? Are you going to say, you know what? It's a business. I got to do what's best for the future. I want to know what you guys think. Sandra is saying, no, Demario is my guy. So Sandra, are you treating the franchise like a mom and pop shop? Do you not have that ruthless aggression as a GM to you? Because look, sometimes in the NFL, you got to make tough decisions. I'm not arguing against you not wanting to trade Demario. I'm just saying. We are rebuilding, right? We want younger players, right? We want better assets, right? Slim South says, yes, it's time to get younger. AP is kind of spoiling who my next 2 players are going to be, but he says Demario, Cam Jones, and Alvin Kamara get to make their own choice if they want to stay or go. I'm not mad at that. I'm going to elaborate on that in a little bit, AP. Bitup says, yes, he would trade Demario Davis. Hell no, says Demario Davis deserves better. And that's another counterpoint. Like, for me, I'm like, man, I hate the thought of seeing Demario, Cam Jordan, and Alvin Kamara in anything but black and gold. But at the same time, man, these guys are in the twilight of their careers, and I would love for them to try to win a ring than to just kind of be floundering in New Orleans, where we're clearly not going anywhere for the next year or 2. So that makes me open to trading all of the fan favorites. But like AP said, it also comes down to if they specifically say, I want to be traded. Because if they don't, then you kind of have that dilemma, like, okay, do I want to trade a beloved player, or do I want to be ruthless and say, look, man, we clearly rebuilding. We got to think about the future. Bruce Saint says no, because he does not think we would get good value for him. And that's a good point. What can you get for Demario Davis at his age and this juncture of his career? Pro P says Demario has 6th round value. Keep him. Actually, kind of would not argue that. Like, I do think, you know, if a team called with a 3rd round pick And that's why I'm trying to entice y'all with this question. Then you got to consider it. But is any team going to call and offer that much or that high of a pick for Demario Davis at this part of his career? Probably not. Probably not, which makes you go, well, then no, I'm not going to trade Demario for a 6th-round pick who probably isn't even going to be on the team when we are contenders. But I'm trying to make the question a little bit more, enticing and thought-provoking, which is why I say if it was a 3rd-round pick that a team say, hell with that. We know Demario is old, but our window is open now. We're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. Would you trade for a 3rd-round pick? Because that becomes like, damn, that's arguably a can't-miss offer. Like a 3rd-round pick for, how old is Demario? Let me find out right quick. Hold on. How old is Demario Davis? Demario Davis is 36 years old. That's ancient in NFL terms. So if a team calls and says, hey, we would trade you a 3rd-round pick for a 36-year-old linebacker, that's almost like, hey, we love you, Demario, but shit, business is business. Hell no says so he would trade Demario for picks. Bill says if it's a 3rd round, then yes, he would do it. Sandra says, hell yeah, I'm a mom and pop shop. So you should never get mad at Mickey Loomis, okay, Sandra? You should never get mad at Gail Benson or any of them whenever I get on here and say, the Saints are a goddamn mom and pop shop organization. Chad says, this is a tough one because he is huge in New Orleans and the state of Louisiana, but I would give him that option and would be cool if he wanted to contend somewhere else. Absolutely. Like if Cam or Demario come and say, I want to be traded, trade him. Absolutely. Absolutely. It would suck, but that's where we are as an organization right now. See Big Slim. Hold on, Big Slim. We're going to talk about the Falcons and the NFC South in a little bit. I know y'all like mice. Y'all come in when y'all finally have a big win. It's all good. It's all good. D. Granger says a lot of these GMs are making bad personnel decisions. So treating Demario for a mid-pick would be silly. What's your definition of a mid-pick, though, D. Granger? Is it a 4th or lower, or is even a 3rd-round pick to you a mid-pick? Elaborate for me, please. Anthony says, I love Demario, but he's 36 years old, and if there's a GM that wants to bring him to become a contender, you got to consider it. I agree with that. Phil says, I don't like it, but we are rebuilding. Jay Saunders says, I don't think Demario Davis is going to pull in enough value. Getting rid of him will empty the seats. The seats are already kind of empty, Jay Saunders, but the sales department would suffer. The sales department is already suffering, Jay Saunders. Trust me. I hear things. Reese's Pizza says, throwing all the loyalty out the window, I think a 3rd-round pick is a fair trade-off. But the guy, even at 36, is one hell of a linebacker. Absolutely facts. I'd keep him, even if it's only for a few more seasons. He is still playing pretty damn good for a 36-year. It's not a popular question, y'all, and it's definitely not a popular decision. But I'm asking y'all to put your GM hat on. We're fans. So, yeah, Sandra can say, ain't no way I'm trading Demario. But she's not a GM. She's a fan, which is why I'm asking y'all to put on your GM hats tonight. Because sometimes you got to make tough business decisions. Bill Belichick was known for that. He was ruthless. He always say, I'm trading a player 1 year too early than 1 year too late. And it will make the Patriots fans piss the hell off because he traded some like popular players in Boston. But it worked out because they will always be back in the Super Bowl. Nola Chop says, much love for Super Demario, but I'll trade him so he can get a ring somewhere else. But he deserves it. All right, so it seems like we're a little mixed on Demario Davis. Are we as mixed on Cam Jordan as we are Demario Davis? If another team calls, same thing. So if we think Cam Jordan got a little juice to him left, if the Los Angeles Rams call, say we like our team. Sean McVay say, he's usually aggressive with trades. Man, I think Cam Jordan could be the way that we actually hold off the Seattle Seahawks and San Francisco 49ers. Yo, Mickey Loomis, I'm going to give you one of our 3rd-round picks if you give me Cam Jordan. And you guys are Mickey Loomis right now. Do you trade Cam Jordan? Or do you say, no way, Jose? He's a Saints legend. We got to keep him. Would you trade Cam Jordan? Now, my bias is going to definitely come in for this question because it's hard for me to put on my GM hat. But even if I did, I just don't know. I don't know. Like a 3rd-round pick is enticing, but it's Cam Jordan, right? I mean, the guy is going to be one of the few Saints. Actually, probably right, the only Saint, Hall of Famer Saint, because I think he should be a Hall of Famer, who only wore black and gold. And I do not want to take that away from him because I know how important that is to him. Like Drew Brees, you search him with San Diego Chargers, you'll see him not wearing black and gold. Woody Roaf, Hall of Famer. He wore Kansas City red and white. Ricky Jackson, greatest Saints linebacker of all time. He wore San Francisco 49ers colors. One of my favorite players of all time, Joe Horn. He was a goddamn Atlanta Falcon. Taysom Hill, a future Saint Hall of Famer. He was a Green Bay Packer. Jari Evans, who should be a Hall of Famer. He was a Green Bay Packer at one point. Cam Jordan is one Saint player that you can say you got a Photoshop to see him in anything but black and gold. Because of that, this is where I will allow Mickey Loomis to be mom and pop shop organization. And I would say, no, I am not trading Cam Jordan. Are you guys more ruthless than me? I ask you, would you trade Cam Jordan? Bruce Sain says no. Same as Demario. There's just not going to be any good value. And he is pretty much on his last leg. Slim South says yes, he would, because Cam deserves to make that his own choice with that. Sonia says, let Cam retire here. No trade. Talented Mr. Ripley, a Falcons fan, by the way, says, I actually think Cam would deny a trade and just retire instead of leaving y'all. I actually think he would as well. Philip says, please let Cam retire a Saint. Sandra says, to stay my GM hatless, my answer is no for Cam. Reese's Pizza says, again, if I'm a GM, I love the guy, but Cam Jordan's decline has been more noticeable. So this is the first one. Reese's Pizza is the first one that says he actually would trade Cam Jordan. He said, but it would kill him. Prof P, of course, Falcons fan, y'all, says, get Cam Jordan out of here. The Note of Chop says, Cam Jordan is going to retire a Saint. He is not going anywhere else. Jason says, Los Angeles or any team will have to throw the ultimate retire package for Cam to go through with being traded at the present, because being a Saint is his legacy. My guy Chad says, it's so hard to have players who from start to finish stay on one team. So unless they come with a ridiculous high draft pick, I am not doing it. I'm not mad at any of these answers, y'all. And finally, Anthony says, I have mixed feelings with Cam. He is definitely a Saints legend, and I wouldn't want to trade him, but I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to go leave to join a contender. Great engagement again tonight. Great engagement. Y'all keep mentioning about, only if this player says he wants to leave the Saints, right? This is why this upcoming player, and the last player we're going to talk about, is forever certified in New Orleans, certified in the this shit more than the game streets, certified in the state of Louisiana streets. Alvin Kamara, because it came out last Saturday that a lot of teams were calling for Alvin Kamara, and that Mickey Loomis went to Alvin Kamara himself and said, Alvin, I'm getting a lot of calls for you. Obviously, we are not in the best spot as a franchise. If you want Alvin, I will trade you to a contender. Alvin Kamara, this is being reported by NFL insider Ian Rappaport, told Mickey Loomis, I do not want to go anywhere. That is why this shit more than a game. A lot of people on Twitter, the other opposing 31 fan bases were like, what the hell is wrong with Alvin Kamara? Why would you not want to go, to a better team? Because y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get why this shit more than a game. Okay, not everybody wants to ring chase. Not everybody wants to say, oh, the team sucks now. Get me off this sinking ship. Some players are just goddamn loyal to their team and to their city and their franchise. Alvin Kamara says, yeah, I could go to Buffalo. I could go to Kansas City, but my heart ain't going to be in it. I want to finish off where I started. I want to try to be a reason why this team gets back to being good. And maybe this team is probably going to be good when I'm retired. But goddamn it, at least I can say I had a part in getting them back on track. Alvin Kamara, you are forever this shit more than the game certified. Same with you, Demario, and same with you, Cam, because it was reported about Alvin. I'm sure, like you guys say, Cam and Demario probably say the same thing. Nope, we're going down with the Titanic. And I love that for them. I love that for them. Either three of them ever change their mind and say, you know what, hell with that. I do want to go play for a contender. More power to them. I would never be mad at them. But I just absolutely love that Alvin Kamara say, nope, I want to be a Saint. I'm with you guys through and through. I love that, Alvin Kamara. We might finish this era of Saints football in the early 2010s and the late 2010s and the early 2020s, where we say, God damn, we got to see Cam Jordan and Alvin Kamara be a New Orleans Saint from start to finish. I absolutely love that. But if you are a GM and the team called and say, hey, I want to trade for Alvin Kamara, and I'm going to give you a second-round pick, would you do it? I feel like everybody's going to say no now because of what I just said about how Alvin Kamara said, I'm New Orleans for life. But let's see what the comments say. Big Slim, Falcons fan, says he's delusional if he wants to stay at ain't. Again, Big Slim, y'all don't understand why this shit more than the game. Y'all just wouldn't get it. Y'all Falcons fans. Y'all don't get it. But this shit more than the game. Carl Dunn says anything but a third and a fourth rounder or he stays. So he's saying if it was a fifth rounder, sixth rounder, seventh rounder, no. But if they offered a third or fourth, he would actually entertain it. Big Slim also says AK is washed, just like the Aints. Now, I'm not going to say AK is washed. Is he at his peak anymore? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to say he's washed. Honestly, like if you put him on Kansas City, I guarantee you the betting odds for them winning the Super Bowl goes up. If you put him on Buffalo, I guarantee you the betting odds for them winning the Super Bowl goes up. He still has some juice in the tank. He's not 2019 Alvin Kamara anymore, but he's damn sure still a good running back. Anthony says, definitely do not trade Alvin Kamara. Philip says, if we keep losing regardless of how well Rattler has played, don't you think we have to? Oh, that's a whole different conversation, Philip. We can have that another show. We probably will, but I already got enough Rattler fans mad at me today on Twitter, so I'm not touching that conversation right now. My girl, Brittany. What up, Brittany? She says, Alvin Kamara is not going anywhere. Loyalty. And shout out to my girl, Brittany, man, because I had a tweet that went kind of viral. Well, I had a few tweets that went viral this past week. Of course, for the Bucks fans, just like Falcons fans, you know, but the Bucks fans are more like, at least we acknowledge the Falcons fans. The Bucks fans be begging for our attention. Hey, Saints fans, they're acknowledging us. So my girl Brittany always has this perfect gift of that classic skit I did of how Saints fans treat Bucks fans. And every time Bucks fans come in my mentions, you know, trying to dance on Drew Brees' grave or whatever, she always comes and says, man, you guys are obsessed. Shout out to you, my girl Brittany. Chat says, Alvin Kamara can run till the wheels fall off. We love being loved, goddammit. Yep. Down here is different, right? This shit more than the game. We're not New York. We're not Chicago. We're not Los Angeles, man. When players like superstar players love us, it just feels different down here. I absolutely agree with that. Sonia says, Alvin wants to be here, so leave him be. No trade. Slim South says, hell no. He's offense. Kendra, and Danielle help out. Bruce Saint is actually undecided, apparently. He says, I really cannot decide on this one. He really wants to stay, but at the same time, he ain't producing like Chris Olave. So I say no. Falcons fans are talking trash. Jay Saunders says, AK is the realest. He's this shit more than the game certified. 41 forever. Sandra says, Alvin said it. I support it. We live it. No trade. His heart is forever in New Orleans. The Nola Chop says, I'm keeping Alvin Kamara home in New Orleans. Total Glock Boy says, honestly, I think all of them are waiting to see who the strongest teams are at the trade deadline. This is a different take. I think all three of them will go if there's a clear dominant team that wants them. I disagree with that, Total Glock Boy. Like, okay, I think the best teams that can call is like a Detroit, a Kansas City, maybe still the Buffalo. And I don't think Alvin would say yes to any of those teams. I don't think Cam would say yes to any of those teams. I still haven't got a feel for Demario yet, but I think all three of them are like, no, we want to be here. We're comfortable here, which as Saints fans, we all can appreciate. I would send Alvin more than a goddamn t-shirt. Know the Child podcast. I would love for Alvin to come sit on this shit more than the couch. He obviously knows I exist. And just let him know how much we love him down here in New Orleans. And finally, Reese's Pizza says, if a team came and offered like a second or third round pick, kind of like what the Commanders did for Marshawn Lattimore, he would do it. But again, that'd be a tough thing to go through. So a lot of mixed reactions today from a lot of you guys about our players. But the main thing is this: we gotta keep our ears to the TV and our eyes glued to the phone, because I do think that obviously a lot of teams are going to be calling the New Orleans Saints these next few weeks and say, you guys are in a bad spot. We could use some of y'all good players to help our team out because we're in a better spot than you guys. So I think that there will be at least one player traded from the New Orleans Saints before the trade deadline is up. If you put a gun to my head, I think it's going to be Pete Werner. I think he's going to be the one who's going to be traded. And I think that the writing was starting to become on the wall last Sunday when Kellen Moore started ushering in Danny Stutzman and Isaiah Starbird more to play linebacker. But I do think Olave is definitely an interesting one. I told you guys that if y'all got me one super chat, I was going to play a very funny video, and I am a man of my word. But first, let's hear a word from one of our sponsors. Here's a gift just for you for being a fan. Are you going to a sports game or a concert or any major event? Well, buy your tickets from SeatGeek and use the promo code JONO at checkout, and you can receive $20 off your purchase over $50. That's $20 off your purchase. What are you waiting for? You know this shit more than a game, man. So let's get to some of these super chats right quick. Brute Saint says, Jono Barnes, Axe, and ye shall receive. And we all know that Brute Saint is the king of the super chats. We also got a super chat from my guy Jay Saunders, who says, "Bro, drop them on Patriots." So he knows exactly what video is about to be played. Jay Saunders, and yeah, he still gave a super chat. I appreciate you, Jay Saunders, and even Pro P. Even Pro P says, "Let me see us Saints crash out. I pay for that kind of stuff." All right, y'all. So if y'all haven't seen it yet, y'all thought that I was bad. Y'all thought that I get bad after Saints losses. This is real deal Holyfield. This happened this past Sunday after the New Orleans Saints lost to the New England Patriots. Two things. One, thank God he was wearing an extra large Taysom Hill jersey. And two, thank God we are in the South and it was not windy. But y'all see what I say? One, y'all see what I say when I say this shit more than the game. But two, this is why we need the New Orleans Saints to be good. Because goddamn, our fans wild out when we are not good. That was insane. That was insane. Oh man, God bless the cops, man. I can imagine the stuff that they go through every Sunday, especially when the Saints ain't winning. Because that man dropped not only his pants, but his whole ass drawers. Come on, Saints, y'all got to get it together, man. Y'all see what y'all doing to our residents? Madam Mayor, don't worry about the potholes. Fix the New Orleans Saints. Our fans are wilding out. Our fans are wilding out. It almost makes me regretful that I'm doing this to the era of the this shit more than the game throne.
Oh! Hell yeah! That's how you start a game. Don't be scary. This shit more than the game time.
Now, y'all see, he's kind of hitting a bit of a rookie wall. It happens with rookie seasons, right? You know, the past few weeks, you know, he was unfazed by his daddy's yelling. Last Sunday, he kind of got a little startled again. You saw it on his face. He didn't know what to do. He was like, do I cry? I don't know if I like that. It's a rookie wall. Just know that Coach Dad is coaching him up and that Lil Jono is definitely going to be 100% ready to be this shit more than the game certified even more than when he came out the womb come January when he finalizes his first ever New Orleans Saints season. He wasn't the only one who was apparently startled by the Saints losing to the New England Patriots because we got some voicemails to get to, guys. So here are our post-Week 6 voicemails from the greatest goddamn fan base in the world, especially the ones who dropped their pants apparently on Paul Street when the Saints lose to Drake May.
So, you're telling me that the Saints just played against the New England Zebras, and I want to get to that later. I want to talk to Brandon Staley. Go, Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley. Why are you our defensive coordinator? In the first half, the Patriots had 4 possessions, and they scored on 3 of them. And to be honest, they probably would have scored on the 4th one, too, if it wasn't for their center having a bad snap. So are you stupid or something? Are you dumb or are you dumb? And referees, man, how much money do the Patriots pay you? How much American dollars did they pay you? How? With all that evidence, are you going to call it a fumble? When his knees go down, he does not lose possession of the football.
Jono. Here we go again. Oh, man. Where do I start, man? This team we're 1-5 now. They just killing my Sundays. Even though I know it's a rebuild, they killing my Sundays, dog. Juwan Johnson, why is he on the team, man? He's dropping. This man made a butter. He just made a butter. Chris Olave, people saying he's a number one. He's not a number one. Man, look, I don't know what's going on. We have no playmakers for Spencer Rattler to throw the ball to. Juwan Johnson, Chris Olave got hands like a fish. At this rate, man, if we keep losing games, I know y'all ain't want to hear this, but a lot of Saints fans, we going to hear this. And in the 2026 NFL draft, the New Orleans Saints with the 3rd pick, the New Orleans Saints select whoever the fuck we want, whoever the hell we want, bro. I'm trying not to let this team stress me out. I'm trying not to have them. They got me over here drinking bleach smoothies and shit. I'm trying to cool down and keep calm because I know it's a rebuild. But when my emotions get into this game, bro, it's a whole different story. Like I say, man, I can't grill no more because they ain't worth the meat, they ain't worth the shrimp, they ain't worth the seafood. At this point, I'm just gonna take out a loaf of bread and bite the ends off. This team just stresses me out. I love them. It's who they're for life, but they stressing me out. At this point, I need to go buy me a dog on Saturday and walk him on Sunday so I can find me something better to do with my life. Oh boy, it's hard being a Saints fan, man. Kool-Aid get burnt twice by a man named Booty. Kool-Aid he's diet water. At this point, he ain't even water. He just air. He ain't. Come on, man. This team needs help, bro. Get this man some playmakers. Start letting people go before the trade deadline. See you, Juwan. See you, Olave. I ain't tripping. If let's start having that garage sale. Have that garage sale, man. See what we can get for certain people, man. What a pass rush. What pass rush at? Man, Drake May was back there making gumbo roux. And then he burnt it and then had to remake it. And it, man, come on, bro. Chase Young came back for what? For what? To be big as hell in this jersey? Come on, man. Man, look here, bro. It's who that for life. I'm rocking my Saints gear right now. They looking at me like I'm crazy, but it's who that for life. Hey, Jono, stop putting your little boy through that, man. Let him choose his own team, bro. He gonna be ball at age 3 if he watching the Saints. Who that for life?
Every voicemail segment is so much better when T Dirty calls. T Dirty, he came out the womb this shit more than the game certified. He has no choice. He has to become a Saints fan. He has no choice. Y'all showing out in the chat, by the way, today too. I love it. This is probably one of my favorite shows of the season so far. I appreciate every single one of y'all. I really do. I even appreciate the Falcons fans who, of course, they left a lot of text messages, especially after they beat the Buffalo Bills. So Juddy Bear says, what you got to say now, Jono? Rise the F up. Kamara says, see, once again, them sorry ain'ts are brought back down to earth and just blew that. Kamara also said, Atlanta Falcons currently ranked #1 defense in the league. Rise up. I'm going to be honest, y'all. I had to do a double check when I saw that. I said, ain't no way the Falcons got the #1 ranked defense in the league. Y'all, the Falcons actually have the #1 ranked defense in the league. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's not good, y'all. That's not good. We'll talk about the Atlanta Falcons after this voicemail segment, but let's get to more voicemails.
Hey, John, it's me, Justice P. Falcons fan. I want to know, how's it feel to be last place in the division and you only won one game? It hasn't feel seeing everybody in the NFC South winning games besides your team. See back and win on Monday Night Football, beating the Buffalo Bills, and now we have a good record 3-2. How's it feel? It feel good down here in ATL. Great defense, #1 defense, but we're going to keep on going. We're going to fly high and low. And I think we're going to make sure we make you stop saying that phrase. The Falcons on them, but we're going to make you regret that this year. We're going to make you say, Falcons rise up and prove me wrong. When your son get older, he going to realize how good he is. Congrats to your child. He going to witness us make to the playoffs. You want your child to be more famous, we build live NFC South drivers on your stream to make. Again, I wish you them better success. But right now, y'all in last place in the division. Y'all 1-6, and my Falcons, we keep on winning.
All right, one thing you Falcons fans gonna do, because I even see where this comment is at. Big Slim saying, y'all gonna stop calling my son a Falcons fan. One thing he ain't gonna be. I'll let that man come and be a Dallas Cowboys fan before he's a Falcons fan, so y'all can chill with that. I will tell you this, Dante, you might be right. In my son's first year of existence, he might witness the Atlanta Falcons make the playoffs before he witnesses the New Orleans Saints make the playoffs. Glass half full, he ain't gonna remember this shit 9 years from now. So I guess I can live with that, but that does kind of suck if y'all do make the playoffs, that my son sees a Falcons playoff game before he sees New Orleans Saints playoff game. And finally, you say, if I want the show to get bigger, invite more NFC South fans. Hey, the door is open. Any NFC South fan. This isn't one fan, I see Jerry isn't on the show tonight because Jerry's always like, Joe, you got to ban these Falcons. No, I welcome Falcons fans. Maybe with the Panthers actually winning games now, we'll get some more Carolina. We never actually, I don't think ever had one Carolina Panthers fan join the show, but I welcome all NFC South fans. This shit more than the game territory, man. We don't run from the smoke. We embrace it. Everybody in the chat, all the Saints fans, we embrace it. We ain't scared of no Atlanta Falcons or Tampa Bay Bucks or Carolina Panthers. So I welcome all NFC South fans. This is not just a Saints-only show. Y'all read the disclaimer before the show. This is not a Saints fan. It helps to be one. This is a show for all fans. And it's damn sure going to be a great show when the Falcons eventually do Falcon. Speaking of the Falcons, that one Falcons fan leaves a chat. He says, Jono, I hope it's not too late to leave a text mail. I just got home from work. I'm shocked, y'all. I didn't know Atlanta Falcons fans actually worked. So that's why I'm late. But overall, great win by my Falcons. Panthers seem to be finding a rhythm. Baker is just a white Michael Vick, and the Aints are where? The Aints. See you next week. I don't know about Baker Mayfield being the white Michael Vick, but Baker Mayfield is playing pretty damn tremendously. I will say that. Let's get to our next voicemail.
Round 2.
Oh, shit. We got 2 voicemails from T Dirty. That's when you know it's a good show. That's when y'all know it's a good show. Buckle up for this one, y'all.
Fight. And another thing, this goddamn defense. We can't stop nothing. What's his name? Brandon Staley? What's up with this defense? You can take your little monkey ass back to the Chargers with this little mess, the lightning bolt team, because this is unacceptable. You get burnt on the same play twice, and the referees had to bail you out of one of them. I'm like, that was a touchdown. Referees just feel sorry for them, and it's crazy how you know how before the game come on and the commercial come on. When the game come on, we down 14 points already right after the commercial. We down 14 goddamn points. And they playing far back off the man. I don't know what's over this defense, bro. They can't stop nobody, but they ain't stopping my blood pressure from going up on goddamn Sunday. I tell you that, man. This defense ain't, man. Brandon Staley, we down 14 right after the commercial. Fresh out of the commercial, we down 14. I'm like, wait a minute, I just went to go get a beer. We down 14. Now, come on, bro. And we can't keep putting the shit on Blake Groupie. We get mad because he missed kicks, but damn, he put in a position where he got a kick. Well, I'm glad you know to stop. Shut up, the leprechaun. I ain't talking to you. What? We were talking to you. But we can't stop nobody. These Cam Jordan, I seen you out there huffing the puff. I seen him shoulder pads working. He was moving. I said, yeah, Cam, it's about that time, my boy. It's about that time. Dye your hair back black and just play normal, bro. We can't stop nothing. We can't get to nothing. We getting burnt. They look confused out there. Rebuild. If I tell myself rebuild, it'll feel better. Rebuild. You know what I'm doing this Sunday, man? Ain't nobody getting no barbecue this Sunday. I don't think we're going to beat Chicago. Dennis Allen got something up his sleeve for our ass. He know this team. He know the offense. I'm passing out suckers and lollipops for everybody who come to my house, and we ain't having no food. If you want some barbecue, dip that sucker in some barbecue sauce. That's what you going to get from me, bro. This shit more than a game, Jono. This shit more than a goddamn game. Who that for life?
I think T Dirty had it right. So everybody do me a favor. Let's all kind of dial it back a bit. Exhale. And that's all I say. Rebuild. Matter of fact, everybody in the chat right now, just put rebuild in the chat. So we all can just kind of not lose sight of what's going on right now. So put in the chat right now. Rebuild. You keep saying that, it makes your Sundays a lot less stressful. Rebuild. See our lovely misdemeanor crimes in the chat. How ironic, because the bat signal must have gone off, because y'all know who our last voicemail is from. Misdemeanor, you damn sure know. Y'all know who the final voicemail is from.
This is James. James. And I told y'all were getting all excited about the Giants win. The Saints have turned the corner, y'all said. It's a brand new page. No, it's the same book. Y'all just got lost in the chapter. Same penalties, same horrible red zone offense. Defense shitty as I don't know what. Kellen Moore on the sidelines looking like Mr. Gary on South Park. I guess we got to do better, okay? Jeez, why is my team playing as good as it did against the New York Giants, okay? What y'all witnessed Sunday was the difference between a great coach and an average coach. A quarterback who is a franchise quarterback and a quarterback who is just okay. But hey, we're Saints fans, right? So we got to talk ourselves into Spencer Rattler and Kellen Moore. You guys can have all of that. But James, just James, this ain't his first time around the block, all right? Y'all may be new to this, but I didn't see nothing until as a Saints fan. All you guys are usually used to is just Drew Brees. For me, I know good and I know bad. And right now, we are bad. But whatever, man. Don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say James, just James. Didn't warn you. You know what? You know what it reminds me of? DJ, please. Where it began, I can't begin to know when. But then I know it's growing strong. Was in a spring, and spring became the summer. Who would have believed you'd come along? Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, ba ba ba. Good times never seem so good, so good, so good, so good. I've been inclined, to believe they never would. Yeah. That's for all the Boston people for coming in and waking up the Who Dat Nation and showing us that we got a long way to go before we celebrate wins over teams like the Giants. But y'all don't want to listen to James. Just James. Y'all just want to use me for my amazing singing voice. It's okay, though. It's just still more than a game. It's okay, though.
Oh, God. That might have been the best voicemails. This might be the best John Bone show we've had all week. Shout out to James, just James. I don't know if we're using him for his amazing singing voice, but we are using him for his great voicemails. Remember, y'all can leave a voicemail. I know everybody's kind of like even care about this rebuild right now, but hey, the passion should not die because what? This shit more than a game. Leave a voicemail at 504-484-9170. And for the love of God, can anybody, just one Saints fan, leave a text if you don't want to leave a voicemail so not every goddamn text that I get is from these annoying ass Falcons fans. I don't ask for much. If you can't leave a voicemail, just leave a text. 504-484-9170. Before we close up the show, I promised I was going to do this, and we're going to do it, okay? We're going to get to the NFC South Talk, and we're going to talk about the big win that the Atlanta Falcons had this past Monday night. But also, that doesn't mean that they're destined for the Super Bowl, right? Because, guys, the Carolina Panthers are right there with them at 3 wins. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 5-1. Oh, then you got those New Orleans Saints. You know, isn't it kind of sad? You know that usually around this time we'll be like maybe 1.5 game behind the top team in the NFC South. So Ziggy could come on the show and say, "Hey, we're still in the hunt. Ain't no hunt this year." I guess that's why Ziggy left the show, huh? Ain't no hunt this year. But credit where it's due. Atlanta Falcons are 3-2 with a huge win against the Buffalo Bills this past Monday night, and they have won 2 straight. The Buccaneers are 5-1, and arguably are the best team in the NFL. Drew Brees even went on ESPN today and said the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL. The Carolina Panthers, surprisingly, are 3-3. And I don't know what to make of the Carolina Panthers, y'all. Like, I'm like, okay, they're not, I don't think they're good, but they're not bad either. Are they good? Like, are the Panthers good? Like, one game I watched the Panthers and Bryce Young, it's like, oh, he's took that leap. He's about to be a star quarterback. They got something building. Then they come out the next week and they get their ass whooped. I don't know. All I know is right now, the Panthers, the Bucs, and the Falcons are on 2-game win streaks, and the damn New Orleans Saints only have one, don't even have 2 wins, period. So I ask you guys, how do y'all feel so far about the NFC South? One, do y'all think the Buccaneers are Super Bowl contenders? We asked this last week, and everybody's saying no. After a big win again this past week, are y'all ready to be sold on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being a legitimate Super Bowl contender? Honestly, at this point, y'all, I feel like if you're saying no, then you're just doing that because you're a hater, which is fine, because as always, screw the NFC South teams, right? screw the NFC South teams. But if we were not, biased, I think everybody would be like, yeah, clearly the Buccaneers are a Super Bowl contender. And I'm going to get on the show right now and say they sold me last week. Like, they have all these injuries. Mike Evans is down. Chris Godwin is down. Emeka Egbuka went down, and they still are winning games. Baker Mayfield is arguably an MVP candidate. I see the media keep trying to say Dak Prescott is an MVP candidate. The Cowboys aren't even over goddamn 500. It shows you like how much bias the media has for certain teams. Baker Mayfield's goddamn 5-1, putting up incredible numbers. He's a goddamn MVP candidate, not Dak Prescott media. I think the Buccaneers are legit. I think they are Super Bowl contenders. There's no NFC team right now that scares you. There's no NFC team that makes you go, they are clearly the best team in the NFC this year. The Buccaneers and their fans should be excited. They absolutely have a shot to be playing in San Francisco this year. Would I pick the Buccaneers to go to the Super Bowl still at this point? No. But I will be lying if I say the Buccaneers are not legitimate Super Bowl contenders. The Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to tell y'all again, Falcons fans. Y'all tried the Falcon last night. Don't think we didn't see that. Y'all tried the Falcon last night. I think the Bills have just kind of fallen off a bit of a cliff this year where it happens. I always wonder, and that's what I try to do when I make my season predictions. I'm always like, it's very rare for like teams to like be dominant contenders for like, 3-4 plus years, right? Like eventually there's going to be a team or two that kind of like falls back down. The NFL encourages parity. So it seems like the Bills are that team this year where they're like coming back down to earth a little bit, where they're not going to be a 12, 13 win team like we're used to. Now, it still might work out that they make the playoffs. And, sometimes life works funny. You have an average regular season and you get to the Super Bowl, whereas when you have great regular seasons, you don't make the Super Bowl. But I'm no longer like completely sold that the Bills are this legitimate contender in 2025. I think they're still a good team. I think they will make the playoffs, but I don't think that they are at their peak like they were the past few seasons. And we'll see over time if that means that the Super Bowl window closed or not. Still was a big win for the Atlanta Falcons, but they did try the Falcon. They missed that goddamn, or they got that field goal blocked, and Drake London tried to be Superman and score. It was an exciting play, but he went out of bounds at the 1 yard line. And I had it in I'm like, I think the Falcons are about the Falcon. I think the Falcons are about the Falcon. This 21-7 lead that they had. And they tried their hardest to give Buffalo that game. And the Buffalo Bills, if they were that same dominant team that we're used to, should have absolutely took that game and won it, because the Falcons tried. God damn, they tried. And half the goddamn crowd was Buffalo Bills fans in that stadium last night. But sadly, the Buffalo Bills don't seem to be that great team right now anymore. So the Falcons got the win. Congratulations to y'all, Falcons. Y'all are 3-2. Y'all are 3-2. But I saw just enough last night to know that, you know what? Even if y'all make it to the playoffs, whether it's a wild card or whether y'all win the NFC South, y'all going Falcon. Y'all going Falcon. So I'm going to let y'all talk y'all junk right now. I'm going to let y'all talk y'all junk. Run y'all victory laps, okay? This is a great season for y'all. The Saints are trash. Y'all look like y'all finally rising up. Congratulations. I know y'all going Falcon. And it might have to be, we got to wait till January this year for y'all to Falcon. And it's okay. It's okay. I prefer that y'all do it in December. Like y'all coming here with the egg on y'all face yet again in December and say, duh, how did we not make the playoffs again? But I know y'all going Falcon. I know y'all going Falcon. And so I like playing the long game with you Falcons fans. Talk y'all trash in October. Y'all talking trash in October last year. Okay? Kirk Cousins doing a swag surf. Y'all beat the Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. Y'all beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of those teams wound up going to the playoffs while y'all was on the couch with us. Y'all always do this. Y'all talk y'all trash in October. We'll see if y'all talk y'all trash in November and December. But I know, because I saw just enough. As impressive as a win that was for y'all last night, I saw just enough to know that y'all will Falcon. Y'all will Falcon. For the Carolina Panthers, I just don't know. I don't know, are they like in that 2023 New Orleans Saints window where they're like mediocre, so they're not great, but they're not bad, but they're kind of like in that 7, 8, 9 win window? Are they going to eventually let the rug be swept from under them and be a bad team again? Or are they ready to take that leap finally and be a good team? I don't know, but I guess one thing about rebuilding, as much as it sucks, and it does suck, is that at least we knew that we were going to suck this year, right? So we can watch the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Bucks beat up on each other and see who comes out top the NFC South and who maybe makes a wild card while we try to get our house in order. Y'all can laugh, Falcons fans, but here's the thing. See, we were that ugly chick that went to the prom knowing that we wasn't going to have a date, all right? We went into the season knowing that we weren't going to get anybody at the high school dance to ask us for a dance. Y'all the Falcons, man. Y'all that ugly chick that thinks that everybody's going to be in a rush to want to dance with y'all when y'all make it to the high school dance. But y'all going to learn. Y'all going to learn, Falcons. But congratulations on that win. Congratulations on that win. We'll talk in December and we'll damn sure talk in January. We were damn sure talking January. This has been an absolutely incredible show, y'all. Thank you to everybody who left the super chat. And last week, we only had one super chat, but of course, he is the king of super chat. So, Bruce Saint, just please know that this shit is more than the thanks, and that, of course, you already know you are this shit more than the game certified. As always, guys, if you can't get enough of Jono Barnes every Tuesday night, you can always follow me on all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. I am Jono Barnes across all platforms. And if you're not following me on Twitter, besides seeing Spencer Rattler stands get mad at me for saying that he's like Teddy Bridgewater, I'll be dropping some bangers, man. I'll be dropping some bangers because this past week on Twitter, I'm sure you guys saw Atlanta. What y'all were doing, man? We had our escaped inmate Derrick Rose holding up shop in Atlanta, and y'all ratted that man out, huh? The Saints got one win, and y'all ratted that man out. So I made a joke saying Atlanta residents when Derrick Rose let out a loud hoolat after the Saints won the Sunday against the Giants. The classic big boy. I know that ain't who I think it is, GIF. And that tweet got 1 million views. That was a good tweet because everybody, like people who don't even know me or follow me, was like, this is why I never leave Twitter, man. This guy, whoever he is, Jono, is hilarious. He's awesome. I was like, yeah, I was feeling myself after that one. Then, y'all, I wasn't even done. I had another 1 million view tweet. This was after the Giants beat the Eagles on Thursday night. And I put Drew Brees went on ESPN after the Eagles were 4-0. And he doubled down on his critique and said that they were not the best team in the NFL. The Eagles fans got mad and started tweeting stuff like Hurts is better than Brees. The Eagles have now lost 2 straight since Brees said this. Everything in that tweet is factual. Eagles fans, y'all better not come at the king. And if you come at the king, you bet not miss. Drew Brees is never wrong. I hope he's wrong about the Bucs being the best team in the league, but Drew Brees is never wrong. And that was another 1 million view tweet. Now, the reactions, of course, to that were a lot different than, this being a hilarious tweet because, of course, the Eagles fans came in and took offense to it. So I knew it was going to be all people just showing me love. So it's a lonely ride to the top sometimes. You make a few enemies when you get to the top. But one cool thing was that one of my favorite sites, Awful Announcing, picked up on a story saying Drew Brees is getting credit for calling out the boring Eagles before their 2-game losing streak. Now, they made Michael Thomas, the great King God Mike, his tweet prominent. But look under that Michael Thomas tweet, y'all. Who that is? Man, who that is under that Mike Thomas? Oh, that's me. That's me. Look at Jono Barnes making national headlines again. Good old Jono Barnes. Let me just say, my tweet, all love to Michael Thomas. I was the first one to tweet about Brees being right before people started picking up on that narrative and say, oh, shit, yeah, Drew Brees did call the Eagles bad, and they've lost 2 straight since the Eagles fans been coming at his neck. So that's influence. That's influence. So it was great, though. I love Awful Announcing. So to be on that site and to be in the same company as the great Can't Guard Mike, awesome. Maybe one day, my goal would be to Awful Announcing to feature me again, but not for, a popular tweet, but to say, local content creator Jono Barnes gets signed by some major national brand. I'll tell you what, if we keep getting these 1 million view tweets, we might be closer than we think. You never know. And another thing, when I do a tweet like this, I'm expecting people to push back. But damn, they got some stupid people on Twitter sometimes. Like, I had a few people saying, "Oh, Drew Brees never said that." And when I showed them actual footage, I'm like, "Here, I have a clip of Drew Brees saying that the Eagles were not the best team." It's a wild thing on social media. People just can't admit that they were wrong, or just say, my bad, dog. I read that tweet wrong. No, I didn't see that clip." Instead, they still got to double down and just be like, "Oh, well, you're a stupid blue check mark. You're dumb." And I'm like, you got some dumb people on Twitter. It's okay sometimes, y'all, to say, hey, my bad, I was wrong. But that's what happens. When you get 1 million view tweet, it ain't going to all be rainbows and sunshine. You're going to get people calling you out or pushing back or whatever. I ain't mad at it. I ain't new to this, but I'm damn sure true to this. Oh, I wasn't done. I thought I was done. As a third tweet within an 80-hour period. That is triple platinum certification in addition more than the game streets. A third 1 million view tweet where my guy 504 True tweeted, the saddest moment in the history of television was when Drew Brees had the final walk-off after we lost to the Buccaneers in a half-empty dome. And I say it will never sit right with my soul, mind, body, and spirit that Brees never got a proper send-off in a packed Superdome. Ever. Look at that. 1 million view tweets. To all these brands, if y'all want to see what a goddamn influence is, look at that. That's influence. 3 tweets in an 80-hour period, 1 million views. That's triple platinum in addition more than the game certification streets. Also, the great, like we talked about earlier, players who are true to New Orleans who are always going to be certified in New Orleans street. Thomas Morstead even liked that tweet saying that, goddamn it, Drew Brees deserved a goddamn packed Superdome. All that to say, that's influence. That was a great week on Twitter. Elon, you better run me my $100. I don't want nothing less than $100. 3 $1 million view tweets. I want nothing less than $100 when I get my payout for those tweets this past week. I was on a run, y'all. I was on a run on Twitter this week, boy. I swear. I didn't see a three games like that. You know, 3 great days in a row since Jim Carrey dropped The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, and Ace Ventura, Pet Detective in the same calendar year. I was spinning myself after that. That's influence. And that's why this shit more than a game. So if you ain't following me on Twitter, what the hell are you doing? If you ain't following me on Instagram, what the hell are you doing? Also, Charles Grant, that's a name that some of y'all should know. Charles Grant, y'all remember Charles Grant, right? Saints defensive end from 2002 to 2009. He saw my video of me calling Madam Helena Moreno and Donald Trump and said I'm hilarious and followed me. I'm like, oh shit, boy, I was a Charles Grant stan in 2002. So I just love that my content is being seen by former Saints greats and that, you know, we're doing something special. Now it's on me to kind of keep that momentum going and elevate myself, but we're doing something special. And I'll take the dumbass comments that come along with popular tweets or videos if it means I have people like you guys showing love. So make sure y'all follow me across all platforms. And thank you guys. You're right, Sandra, number 94. Thank y'all. And now we follow each other, by the way. Me and Charles Grant follow each other. So y'all know at some point, right, I got to ask the guy. I'm going to say, yo, Charles, I don't know if you do media or not, but if you would love to come on my show, this shit more than the game community would love to have you. So fingers crossed on that. But thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. This was one of my favorite shows of the season so far. Like, this was a fun show. This is the show a show like this rejuvenates me. Where sometimes I'm like, boy, the fan base just doesn't seem like into it. I don't blame them. It's a rebuild year. But y'all showed up. Y'all showed out tonight. Even you Falcons fans. And I hope y'all know truly how much I appreciate y'all. Really, really, I do. We got a Chicago this Sunday. We'll see what happens with that. They look pretty good as well. Either way, rain or shine, win or lose, we're going to be here. We're going to always be here. And y'all know why. Y'all know why we always going to be here. Because there's shit more than a game. See y'all next Tuesday.
Juno.